Hello and welcome to the Bot Box. Strap yourself in, kids. We're gonna be here for a while. Dominator 2 does meet the qualification I was looking for last week. It can move. It can more than just move. But this week we are not starting with a fight, but with pinball. Yep, pinball from Series 3 of Robot Wars. And the original Dominator. The original Dominator was a box wedge robot armed with a spike, had some decorative teeth at one end, and was black with a flame paint job, so basically painting flames on a robot, your typical fire colours. Not the axe-wielding Dominator it would become. Dominator was in pinball only, and was the first robot in Series 3 of Robot Wars to take on the pinball course. So, let's see how it did. Dominator knocked over a bunch of barrels early on, rejected the seesaw ramp and reversed away, getting a bit too close to Sergeant Bash. Dominator then dodged both Sergeant Bash and Kill-A-Lot before using a barrel to set off the multi-ball release. Clever. Before getting boxed in by the house robots. Dominator just about escaped and hit the 75-point target, but Kill-A-Lot attacked, and whilst Dominator tried to get through the car door to hit a 50-point target, there were two of them, Shunt showed up and axed Dominator. Dead Metal joined in as cease was called. Still, Dominator got 160 points, and were at the top of the leaderboard until Razor came along and beat Dominator's score in the penultimate round of pinball. Ouch! Second is still good though. It's a silver medal. It's all good. So, on to Dominator 2, a very different bot. It had a bi-wedge design, so basically, instead of having one wedge which went, it had two wedges which were separated by a V shape. It was gold, still had the flame paint job, and was armed with a very pointy axe. Its armour was also made of plasma nitride coated titanium. If you haven't seen Dominator 2's Series 4-1, just be aware, the pit reporter of that series liked saying plasma nitride coated titanium. It made its debut in Series 4 of Robot Wars, as you can probably gather, landed in Heat E and drew Lifter Henry 2 and tracked Spikebot 101, the 9th seeds. Dominator 2 targeted Henry 2 first of all, landing an axe blow that caused Henry 2 to stop dead. Just like that. That is actually the record for the fastest immobilization in Robot Wars history at just 2 seconds. 2 seconds, that's it. 101 then pushed Dominator 2 before the 9th seeds became a target of Dominator 2, or 101 that is. But 101 busied itself by prodding Henry 2 until, well, 101 ran away from Dominator 2's attacks. One of them did hit 101. Dominator 2 went out of focus as the house robots prodded Henry 2, and Shunt 2 pitied Henry 2 with 101's help. Next up was 25th seeded lifter Shadow of Napalm. Dominator 2 landed a bunch of hits on Shadow of Napalm, and the 25th seeds weren't moving at all well, and after a lot of nudging and a little bit of axing and some help from the ref bot, both Dominator 2 and Shadow of Napalm were close to Kill-A-Lot. Dominator 2 got away, leaving the 25th seeds alone with the house robot. Oh dear. For Shadow of Napalm. Once Shadow of Napalm escaped to Kill-A-Lot, Dominator 2 axed it again, and this time it hit something vital. So the pit opened, and between the efforts of Dominator 2 and Matilda, down went the 25th seed straight to oblivion without passing go or collecting £200. Next up in the heat finals was 101. The two robots danced around each other before 101 gave Dominator 2 a push before getting away. Dominator 2 then axed 101, but 101 dragged Dominator 2 around the arena until the 9th seeds got free and pushed Dominator 2 most of the way to Matilda. So that meant Dominator 2 had to tangle with House Robot, but it did and went straight after 101, but couldn't land a blow with the axe and the 9th seeds got away. But not for long, as Dominator 2 axed 101 and sent the 9th seed straight to Matilda. Once 101 got free, Dominator 2 caught and axed 101 again, sending the 9th seeds to dead metal. Not just once though, twice. 101 got released and elected to get away from Dominator 2, well, until it went for side-on attacks that just turned 101 over. That was no matter. Being a tracked robot, 101 happened to be invertible. Well, most tracked robots are invertible. 101 then drove into an arena wall and got stuck, but got away before Dominator 2 could catch it. However, Dominator 2 still caught 101 anyway, as did Shunt, which axed 101 illegally. You're supposed to do that stuff in the corner, Shunt, not in the middle of the arena. And 101 got away to attack Dominator 2 one last time as time ran out and the judges were called in. They ruled in favour of Dominator 2, sending it through to the series semi-finals where it first faced 5th seeded flipper Firestorm 2. Firestorm 2 gave Dominator 2 a push early on, but Dominator 2 just about managed to land an axe blow on the 5th seeds before Firestorm 2 started pushing Dominator 2 around and flipping the axe spot. However, Dominator 2 could use the axe itself right, and did so. Bit flaily, but it worked. Dominator 2 then landed an axe blow on Firestorm 2 and pushed the 5th seeds around. Firestorm 2 tried to use its flipper to free itself, but had no joy until Dominator 2 released them. Right by Shunt. So, Firestorm 2 got out of there before flipping Dominator 2 again. Dominator 2 got back on its wheels with some help from Firestorm 2, so Dominator 2 axed the 5th seeds again before getting away to avoid getting flipped the 3rd time. Instead, they caught, axed and pushed Firestorm 2 before Firestorm 2 was released. They immediately flipped Dominator 2 twice, and between which Dominator 2 got up with some help. The second time, Firestorm 2 pushed Dominator 2 around and only just got in its wheels in time for a judge's decision. Dominator 2 won the decision, but only just. Next up was pyramid-shaped cutting disc bot Pussycat, the 19th seeds. Pussycat immediately went for Dominator 2's wheels once it had escaped from the Axebot's attempt at shoving the 19th seeds. Dominator 2 got away from Pussycat, but struggled to land a blow on the 19th seeds, or struggled to land an axe blow on the 19th seeds no matter how hard they tried. And they tried, but they did manage to land a blow. Pussycat is an awkward shape. However, all that did was briefly cause Pussycat to stand up before it was back in its normal running position and attacking the wheel of Dominator 2 that it had been targeting. Well, that went well, didn't it? Dominator 2 did manage to get a second axe blow in and sent Pussycat to Matilda. Between them, they nearly pushed Pussycat out of the arena. It was like pincer movement, and Pussycat nearly went. But Pussycat just about managed to stay in. Dominator 2 and Matilda tried to keep Pussycat penned in the corner, but Pussycat got out, attacked Dominator's wheels again, and managed to separate the main part of Dominator 2's armour from the base plate. So, Pussycat attacked Dominator 2, managing to leave a gash in Dominator 2's armour. It's about quite a noticeable mark, or hole actually. As time ran out and the judges were called in, they ruled in favour of Pussycat. Now, Dominator 2 wasn't just in Series 4, it was also in the Northern Annihilator. I'm not sure how Dominator 2 qualifies as being from the north, but it got in the Northern Annihilator, where it faced fellow Axebot Kilohertz, Thwackbot Stinger, Lifter Axebot Suicidal Tendencies, Spikebot Spikosaurus, and Flipper Chaos 2, the robot that ended up winning Series 4 and also Series 3. So, naturally, all those robots there, Dominator 2's target was Chaos 2, though its attempts to axe the two-time champion were rudely interrupted by Suicidal Tendencies, who flipped Dominator 2 over. Dominator 2 self-righted quickly though and went back to bothering Chaos 2, and when not bothering Chaos 2, Dominator 2 was chasing the flipper across the arena. Then Dominator 2 managed to land an axe blow on Chaos 2 and pushed it a bit before Chaos 2 got free, and Dominator 2 ended up out of focus for a bit. When Dominator 2 got back in focus, it drove into Kilohertz and Spikosaurus before going around looking for the targets. It axed Spikosaurus and went after Chaos 2 again. Chaos 2 had driven into a wall, so that was a good reason for Dominator 2 to go after Chaos 2. Dominator 2 landed some axe blows and Kilohertz hooked up to axe Chaos 2 as well, but once Dominator 2 got away, Kilohertz got flipped. Dominator 2 ended up out of focus as Chaos 2 prodded Kilohertz until, well, Kilohertz ended up okay. Then Dominator 2 ended up back in focus, right in the thick of it with the other robots in the fight, so everyone not named Chaos 2 or Kilohertz. But a tiny panel fell off the back of Dominator 2 and it strayed worryingly close to Sergeant Bash. But he escaped without getting any damage and went back to trying to annoy Chaos 2 again. Then it teamed up with Kilohertz, and between the two of them, they sent Chaos 2 to an arena wall and axed it. Though Dominator 2 did also axe Kilohertz and Spikosaurus because, reasons. After a few air shots, Dominator 2 took a panel of Chaos 2's armor off, and it's a pretty important one, because it was the thing that protected Chaos 2's CO2 supply. And after that, Dominator 2 axed whatever bot happened to be in front of it before getting out of the way. As Cease was called, Stinger was Dominator 2's target. So, Chaos 2 went out. Dominator 2 was in the background early on, but quickly found itself the target of Spikosaurus and got pushed, but got away and got into focus, picking up from where it left off at the end of round 1, axing whichever robot happened to be in front of it. And that robot happened to be Stinger. You see what I mean? Though a few of the axe blows did more to actually pen Stinger in than actually doing any damage. Stinger's a tricky robot to get a hold of anyway. Dominator 2's next target was Kilohertz, which, despite being the kind of boxy robot that overhead weapons love, was proving to be tricky to catch. Bit of a nippy one, Kilohertz. So, at least one of Dominator 2's axe blows was a fresh air shot. Fresh air. However, when Kilohertz axed Spikosaurus, it was a more stationary target for Dominator 2, because Kilohertz's axe got stuck. So, Dominator 2 took the chance to axe Kilohertz. Once Dominator 2 got free, because its axe also got stuck, it axed whatever happened to be in front of it. This mostly ended up being Suicidal Tendencies, but Dominator 2's axe clashed with Kilohertz's axe, and eventually Dominator 2 poked its Stinger, which wasn't its most mobile. Dominator 2 then went after Kilohertz, whilst Kilohertz was attacking Sergeant Bash. Couldn't you both attack Sergeant Bash? But when more house robots showed up, Dominator 2 backed off and went after Suicidal Tendencies again. And Dominator 2 was out of focus as time ran out. Time may have ran out, but Cecil got cold. It was hard to tell what was going on. Either way, Stinger was the robot to go out. So, we're now in round 3. Dominator 2 spent the early part of the fight trying to find a target. It drove into Kilohertz, which was everyone's target once more. It wasn't long before Dominator 2 and Kilohertz had a one-on-one axe fight while Spikesaurus tended to suicidal tendencies. But once Spikesaurus left suicidal tendencies alone, it did rudely interrupt Dominator 2's battle of Kilohertz by driving into both bots, separating them. Kilohertz then became Spikesaurus' target, and Dominator 2 was left trying to find a bot to axe. Spikesaurus gave Dominator 2 a good round before the axe bot found a bot to axe. I refer, of course, to Dominator 2. And the bot Dominator found to axe was, of course, Kilohertz. Spikesaurus was also going after Kilohertz. Suicidal tendencies wasn't, but that was because suicidal tendencies wasn't moving at all. Dominator 2 and Spikesaurus sent Kilohertz to a flame pit before the three split. Kilohertz sent Dominator 2 to Matilda, which turned Dominator 2 over. Dominator 2 self-righted as cease was called, and suicidal tendencies was the bot to go out. So, we're on to round 4. Dominator 2 went after Kilohertz early on, and one axe blow caused Kilohertz to start venting CO2. That's serious. That means Kilohertz could not use its axe. Kilohertz wasn't moving at all well after being attacked so much. Is it any wonder? And after Dominator 2 left it be, it was moving even less well. And it was moving even less well when Spikesaurus rammed into Kilohertz, leaving the two bots stuck together thanks to Spikesaurus' spikes. They were buried really deep. Still, it did present Dominator 2 with a nice target to axe, called Kilohertz, and nudged Spikesaurus and Kilohertz over to Skilot. Dominator 2 backed off after axing Kilohertz some more. Kilolot split Spikesaurus and Kilohertz. So Kilolot did that. And once free, Kilohertz trundled to an arena wall and moved no more. Cease was called out of mercy. So, that was Kilohertz out. So, we're now on to the 5th and final round against Spikesaurus only. Spikesaurus led Dominator 2 on a merry dance early on, trying to avoid Dominator 2's axe. Spikesaurus being nice and flat, kind of bot that overhead weapons love. But Dominator 2 caught and axed Spikesaurus, bending one of the Spike bot's roll bars. Gotta find a way of keeping on your wheels somehow. Spikesaurus responded to this by ramming Dominator 2 into dead metal, but drove into an arena wall, thus presenting a nice stationary target for Dominator 2 to axe, because Spikesaurus' spikes had gone through the arena wall. So, like I said, nice stationary target for Dominator 2 to axe, which it did as dead metal pushed Dominator 2 away. Lovely. A fight and the participants are being kept apart. Dominator 2 spun on the spot as Spikesaurus was freed from the arena wall. Once Spikesaurus got free, it went over to Dominator 2, which tried to axe Spikesaurus, but instead landed a bunch of fresh air shots. As Spikesaurus was never quite in the right place, until it was, and Dominator 2 was able to not only land a bunch of axe blows on Spikesaurus, it was able to get Spikesaurus to shunt, which puts a nice hole in Spikesaurus 2. Once both bots were free of the house robots, Dominator 2 axed Spikesaurus, then suddenly stopped. Spikesaurus got away, and it was very clear that Dominator 2 was no longer moving, just not working, not functioning, toast, conked out, but all that not good stuff if you want your robot to work. So Dead Metal, Shunt and Kill-A-Lot attended to Dominator 2, which flew Air Floor Flipper and got pitted. Ouch! Dominator 2 was so close to winning the Northern Annihilator. So close. Dominator 2 returned for the first series of Robot Wars Extreme and was in the All-Stars, where it drew Lifter, Spinner, Wild Thing. Dominator 2 tried to axe Wild Thing early on, but even once Dominator 2 caught Wild Thing, Dominator 2's axe blows were in fact fresh air shots. Wild Thing elected to go for Dominator 2's wheels, going after each one in turn. This allowed Dominator 2 to land an axe blow on Wild Thing because it was going. That was what happened with the axe. Still, Wild Thing and Dominator 2 ended up dancing very close around each other, and Dominator 2 landed a bunch of fresh air shots. Dominator 2 was able to push Wild Thing into an arena wall, but Wild Thing got free and hit Dominator 2's wheels some more, before Dominator 2 landed a second axe blow on Wild Thing and pushed it across the arena. But Dominator 2's right wheel wasn't looking so good. It got a lovely puncture. Well, not so lovely puncture for Dominator 2. And Wild Thing was still going after Dominator 2's wheels. Dominator 2 was still able to push Wild Thing around the arena, but Wild Thing got away and pushed Dominator 2 into an arena wall. This allowed Dominator 2 to land an axe blow on Wild Thing, and it escaped the wall and chased Wild Thing, eventually landing an axe blow, but Wild Thing elected to go after Dominator 2's wheels again, before another chase ensued, ending when Dominator 2 caught Wild Thing and axed it. Wild Thing landed a couple more attacks as time ran out and the judges were called in. They ruled in favour of Wild Thing. So, out of the All-Stars, Dominator 2 next had a Wildcard Warriors match against Crusher the Executioner. Dominator 2 also now had wheel protection. Useful. Early on, the Executioner tried to open the pit multiple times for us, and did actually manage to open the pit, before a single nudge from Dominator 2 caused the Executioner to head towards the pit, and it didn't correct its course in time. It had very little time to correct its course, and it ended up, well, in the pit. Very clever, the Executioner. And not. Anyway, that was the end of Dominator 2's participation in the first series of Robot Wars Extreme. On to Series 5, where Dominator 2 was seeded 11th, and landed in Heat F, where it drew Flipper, Spinner, Derek! Seriously, it's got an exclamation mark in its name. You've got to be excited. Dominator 2 couldn't land an axe blow on Derek early on, but did get some good shove attacks in. Dominator 2 did get an axe blow to land during a shove attack that caused Derek to leave a little divot in the arena for the Vandal. A second axe blow followed, and Dominator 2 sent Derek to an arena wall and nearly drove into Shunt. Dominator 2 got away from Shunt before it could do any damage, which is more than Derek was doing. Dominator 2 axed Derek a few more times and backed off as the ref bot counted Derek out. Right, okay, I'm not going to say Derek like that again. Next up was Lifter, Spinner, King Bee Powerworks. It wasn't long before Dominator 2 caught an axe King Bee Powerworks, but King Bee Powerworks got away. A chase ensued, during which time King Bee Powerworks had to dodge Shunt as well. Dominator 2 caught an axe King Bee Powerworks eventually, but took a few hits from King Bee Powerworks' tiny vertical spinner. Dominator 2 even gave King Bee Powerworks a spin, but a few fresh air shots followed before Dominator 2 landed an important axe blow and were able to push King B Powerworks around. Some more axing and pushing followed as time ran out and the judges were called in. They ruled in favour of Dominator 2. In the heat final, Dominator 2 faced full body spinner Corkscrew. Dominator 2 chased Corkscrew early on, pinning it into a corner where the house robots rocked up and made Corkscrew's escape even harder. Dominator 2 got out of the corner quietly and waited for Corkscrew to escape, which it did, going through between the house robots. And a chase ensued, ending when Corkscrew opened the pit. Dominator 2 had already all but caught Corkscrew by the time it opened the pit, and after a few nudges, Dominator 2 had tipped Corkscrew over. Corkscrew couldn't self-right, so it was counted out, flew floor flipper, and set on fire. So that sent Dominator 2 to the series semi-finals, where it first faced Flipper Wheelie Big Cheese, the 10th seeds. Ooh! Cheese puns! Yes, if you've seen Wheelie Big Cheese's episode, you'll know there's no cheese puns in that episode because they're too obvious. But Wheelie Big Cheese's opponents, they're fair game, so every single one of them, cheese puns. The two robots danced around each other early on, neither one wanting to breathe on the end of the other's weapon. Wheelie Big Cheese opened the pit and Dominator 2 caught and got underneath Wheelie Big Cheese, but its attempt at an axe blow was a more keeping Wheelie Big Cheese penned in axe blow than an actual damaging axe blow. They then let Wheelie Big Cheese go and soon ended up on the wrong end of a monster flip. Dominator 2 did stay in the arena, luckily for them, but had self-right, which it did, only to get flipped a second time and end up stuck in a very awkward position for it. But after a struggle where it left its own divot on the arena dance floor, we were able to get back on the wheels and went after Wheelie Big Cheese, as after those flips, Dominator 2 was going to have to do some great damage to win. Dominator 2 got some axe blows in on Wheelie Big Cheese, which stopped moving out of nowhere, much like Dominator 2 in the Northern Annihilator final. So Wheelie Big Cheese got counted out and Dominator 2 backed off as Dead Metal tended to Wheelie Big Cheese. So that got Dominator 2 through to face third-seeded horizontal spinner Hypnodisc. Oh joy, it's this fight! The two robots danced around each other early on, each vulnerable to each other's weapon. Hypnodisc managed to land a few blows on the rear end of Dominator 2 and backed away when the 11th seeds tried to land an axe blow, resulting in another one of those fresh air shots from previous fights, though Dominator 2 came close to hitting Hypnodisc's disc. Hypnodisc then went after one of Dominator 2's wheels and managed to leave a gash in Dominator 2's wheel guards. That's plasma nitride coated titanium, guys. Dominator 2's mobility was now hindered. They'd lost half their drive, and I'm gonna guess that there was probably some plasma nitride coated titanium a bit on the close side to one of Dominator 2's wheels. But it still tried to axe Hypnodisc. Then Hypnodisc waved its self-righter at Dominator 2 and moved basically to show it could move. The waving of the self-righter was basically to indicate a cessation of attacks. Dominator 2 tried to crab walk over to Hypnodisc, but that just caused the third seeds to back off, so they remained a safe distance away from that axe. They were taking no chances. And that was the situation as time ran out and the judges were called in. The judges ruled that it was a boring fight and that Hypnodisc won. Just so you know, Hypnodisc is my favourite robot. This is not my favourite Hypnodisc fight. Some of the ones where Hypno just absolutely lays into a robot. Yeah, that's that I prefer. Anyway, Dominator 2 returned for Series 6, appropriately enough, seeded 6th, and landed in Heat L, where it drew Vertical Spinner Accident 2, Lifter Axebot Hydra, and Gundry Axe-wielding Axelbot something. Get a bit of a theme here. Axe. Dominator 2 was also now very shiny and silver coloured, and no flame paint job. Shame. Dominator 2 made a target of Hydra after Hydra had dispatched of Accident 2, but Hydra was having none of that and turned the 6 seeds over. Dominator 2 was able to get back on its wheels no problem, but Dominator 2 ended up being Hydra's target, and after one Hydra attack, Dominator 2 ended up hanging back as Hydra thought something in the 6 seeds mobility wasn't looking too good. This is not how you score aggression points, Dominator 2. Once Hydra sent something to a corner to spend some quality time with Shunt, Dominator 2 had a go at Hydra, but Hydra showed no fear and flipped, axed and pushed the 6th seeds. Then Hydra and Dominator 2 teamed up to have a go at Accident 2, which, I have to note, had already been counted out. Dominator 2's axing caused Accident 2's spinner to fall out, and Accident 2, like I said, already been counted out. So, Dominator 2 was pummeling on a robot that was already toast. Dominator 2 then went after something, but wasn't having an easy time landing an axe blow thanks to something's awkward shape. Also, the battle had ended up a bit too close to the arena flame pit. But something went down soon afterwards and was counted out. The pit was open and all beaten robots at something and Accident 2 were dumped in. Next up for Dominator 2 was Grabber / Horizontal Spinner Smidsy for Sorry Mate I Didn't See You. Dominator 2 tried to axe Smidsy early on, but all bar one of Dominator 2's axe blows just missed Smidsy. Yep, more fresh air shots. Smidsy then pushed Dominator 2 into an arena wall. Once Dominator 2 got free, it had a bit more luck with its axe blows, one of them landing very close to one of Smidsy's wheels. This didn't last as Dominator 2 missed with a bunch more of its axe blows and Smidsy pushed 6 seeds into some more arena walls. One of these attacks set off the arena spinner, which Dominator 2 tried to use to help it land axe blows on Smidsy, but those axe blows still fresh air shots. Anyway, Smidsy pushed Dominator 2 around some more, but the two robots ended up dancing around each other over the flame pit. Once both bots got away from the arena flame pit, Dominator 2 was able to land a few more axe blows on Smidsy, one landing close to another wheel. In fact, more axe blows were hitting than missing, and Dominator 2 pushed Smidsy into a corner. Growler then rocked up and hit both bots, Dominator 2 ending up in the unenviable position of being the filling in a robot sandwich. First case of Smitty, Dominator 2, then Growler comes along and hard. Smitty was not quite as quick to escape from the corner as Dominator 2 was, and it wasn't going as quickly when Smitty finally did get out, meaning it was a whole lot easier for Dominator 2 to land axe blows. Both bots ended up on or near the flame pit as time ran out and the judges called in. In fact, Smitty was actually on fire. Literally. The judges ruled in favour of Dominator 2. Next up in the heat final was Hydra, but Dominator 2 had a big problem. That attack from Growler split Dominator 2's polycarbonate base plate. Remember this is important. Stick a pin in it. Dominator 2 tried to axe Hydra but struggled to land a blow. This situation was not helped by Hydra turning the 6 seeds over and pushing them into walls. Dominator 2 was able to self-right, but Hydra pushed Dominator 2 into a wall anyway. Another wall shove and flip followed before Dominator 2 self-righted and landed an axe blow on Hydra. Dominator 2 was able to push Hydra around too, but let it go before Hydra got to an arena flame pit. Still, more of Dominator 2's axe blows were hitting than missing. Hydra opened the pit but weren't moving quite so well, not helped by the nice axe holes Dominator 2 had put in it. Hydra still tried to push Dominator 2 onto the flame pit and landed a few axe blows of its own. Remember, Hydra had an axe as well as a lifter. As time ran out and the judges were called in, Hydra was actually close to the pit, but Dominator 2 could not actually get them in. It was a bit too far away. Dominator 2 still won by judge's decision though. So, now in the series semi-finals again, Dominator 2 faced second-seeded flipper Bigger Brother. The fight got off to a bit of a cagey start before Dominator 2 tried to land some axe blows on Bigger Brother but ended up getting flipped for its trouble. Bigger Brother then elected to push the 6 seeds around. Dominator 2 ended up on its wheels because of all that pushing. Dominator 2 responded by axing Bigger Brother and sending it to Sir Killalot, but Bigger Brother escaped before Sir Killalot could do anything. Bigger Brother then flipped Dominator 2 but righted the 6 seeds again by pushing them. Dominator 2 tried to axe Bigger Brother but couldn't land a blow, the situation not helped by Bigger Brother giving Dominator 2 a few flicks. Dominator 2 managed to land a few axe blows on Bigger Brother and sent the second seeds to Sir Killalot. This time, Bigger Brother did escape before Sir Killalot did not escape before Sir Killalot could catch it, and Dominator 2 got well away. Sir Killalot put Bigger Brother back on the arena dance floor upside down, but the second seed self-righted, remember, flipper. And Dominator 2 was back on the scene and sent Bigger Brother back to Sir Killalot as time ran out and the judges were called in. They ruled in favour of Dominator 2. Next up for Dominator 2 was the 12th seeds, Rammer Tornado, who brought a scoop to the party. The two robots danced around each other until Dominator 2 did not elect to do it. Tornado elected to push Dominator 2 around. Sorry, got ahead of myself in the script. These pushing around, this is standard Tornado tactics after all. And Dominator 2 tried axing whatever happened to be in front of it. A tactic that works very well in an Annihilator, but not in a one-on-one fight when, fresh air shots. Not a robot, air. Tornado pushed Dominator 2 partway across the arena, but Dominator 2 escaped before the 12th seeds could introduce Dominator 2 to any more walls. So the two robots danced around each other again before Tornado got away and opened the pit by trashing the pit release. The Vandal. Tornado then pushed Dominator 2 to Matilda's corner, and when Dominator 2 tried to escape, Tornado pushed the 6 seeds to make sure they stayed with Matilda. Dominator 2 hit Tornado in such a way that it was very lucky to avoid going into the pit. Tornado was a flying robot for a moment, but Dominator 2 drove over the pit and fell in instead. Whoops. Dominator 2 returned for the second series of Robot Wars Extreme, where it competed in the All-Stars again, and drew Hypnodisc and Flipper Spawn again. Now, with the All-Stars this time around, they had 2 heats. Dominator 2 was in Heat B. Dominator 2 made a target of Hypnodisc early on, ramming it and staying well away from that disc. Spawn again were also going after Hypnodisc, which meant Hypnodisc was sent flying on one occasion, and Spawn again got in the way of a Dominator 2 axe blow that was meant for Hypnodisc. Taking a few hits from Hypnodisc did nothing to deter Dominator 2 from having a go at Hypnodisc. Taking a direct hit to the disc from Dominator 2's axe did nothing to deter Hypnodisc from going after Dominator 2 and making some pretty titanium sparks. I need that on a t-shirt. I love titanium sparks. Dominator 2 and Spawn again teamed up to go after Hypnodisc, and between their rams, Hypnodisc were toast. Spawn again flipped Hypnodisc, and Dominator 2 axed Hypnodisc as the spinner was counted out. Then Growler dropped Hypnodisc into the pit. Yeah, you shouldn't be surprised to learn that this isn't my favourite Hypnodisc fight either. Next up was double horizontal spinner 13 Black. 13 Black hit Dominator 2 twice early on, but drove into a wall, allowing Dominator 2 to catch 13 Black in an attempt to axe them, but backed off a tiny bit and ended up axing air instead. 13 Black then drove into Matilda's corner, and Dominator 2 followed in a bid to attack it there, but ended up getting attacked by Matilda and had to self-right from there, which they did, venting worrying amounts of CO2. Dominator 2 didn't have an easy time getting away from Matilda either, but it did. 13 Black then landed a couple of hits on Dominator 2 before opening the pit and trashing the pit release. Dominator 2 managed to land an axe blow on one of 13 Black's discs, which stopped it, and tried to push 13 Black into the pit, but 13 Black wasn't having any of it and dragged itself away from the pit. In fact, Dominator 2 came close to getting 13 Black in the pit, but 13 Black's determined effort to stay out of the pit could have just as easily seen Dominator 2 vanish into a hole. Bit of a messy round of tug-of-war, really. Neither of them are built for, tugging. Dominator 2 was able to get free of 13 Black, but its axe did not retract, and its mobility was hampered, so it had lost to half of its drive. Worse, it was close to Matilda and the pit, so Dominator 2 decided to use its position to lure 13 Black into the pit, which nearly worked. 13 Black nearly got into the pit, but both bots were clear of the pit, they were on opposite sides of the pit, as time ran out and the judges were called in. They ruled in favour of 13 Black. Now, Dominator 2 was going to return for Series 5, where, from what limited information I have, it would have been, by all accounts, it would have been seeded 5th. Now, that's a pretty good seeding to have. But the base plate that Growler broke was the problem. Right before Series 7 started filming, before they were gone in, the base plate broke a second time, and this time they realised, yeah, this is a big problem, we've got to withdraw. So Dominator 2 withdrew from Series 7. As a result, they had to rejig the seedings, and congratulations, Ming Dynasty, you got seeded as a result of this. Lucky you. As for Dominator 2, it never fought again. Dominator 3, an Axebot with a more conventional wedge, which looked a bit like Cat 3's long-lost sibling, was made, but it didn't get much in the way of fights either. Series 8 didn't come out till 2016, and Dominator 3 never got on TV, but it's still out there. It's still out there. Dominator 2 came a long way from where it started as Dominator, going from the bot that nearly won pinball in Series 3 of Robot Wars to being one of the most feared axes in Robot Wars. The team have a lot to be proud of, and they are really, really unlucky not to have actually won anything. Dominator 2 is the most successful robot never to have won any kind of trophy. That's just bad luck. They nearly won 2 though, and they came close to being grand finalists. As a result, they're not a robot anyone would be happy fighting. Especially since Dominator 2 was not one that went down without a fight. I mean, out of all the fights it lost, which there weren't many, only 2 of them didn't go to the judges. So, who's next? Taiki, please be kind. We have Rammstein. Yes, it is the Rammstein you think it is, BattleBots fans. Let's see how a super heavyweight deals with heavyweights. Until next week, Callison244, out.